Hello, welcome to the first class for film appreciation. This class is titled The Power of Music. We're going to be diving into what makes music such an important component in great film. But before we even get into that, let's just talk about something that makes movies just great in general. There's so much depth in movies, whether it's great acting, a phenomenal setting, or in this case, great music, and so much effort and work goes into building this symphony, really, of a great movie so that for the viewer, the experience just all comes together. Now, we're just sitting there on our couch or perhaps at the movie theater, and it's all coming to us at the same time, but each of these individual components, the setting, the director, the costume, the sound engineering, the music, it all adds to our experience. And if you're really trying to enjoy movies, trying to enjoy a film, then trying to think of each individual component of the film and how much effort went into it and how much you appreciate it, that can really add to your viewing experience. Now, music, it often is in the background. It's not something that we're supposed to be focused on, but it can add so much to a film. There's really no greater example of what music can bring to a film than what John Williams, who is one of the greatest composers in the history of our country and in the world, was able to bring to films. He paired with Steven Spielberg quite often, and his work no more famous than in Star Wars. So I want to get a chance to listen to the Imperial March. Now, this is a song that was featured in John Williams' in The Empire Strikes Back. And what this work does is it so effortlessly helps the reader understand what is happening in the film. So I'm just going to drop the needle right here. And if you're viewing right now, you know that there's a menacing threat, the Empire, and this is the music that's often played before Darth Vader comes in. It's so big and strong with the baritone bass, and you can feel that instantly. In the film, right here where we're about to watch, just over my screen, they just found that there was a droid that was transmitting signals back to the Empire. And they're going to cut to Darth Vader. And that same music that we were just listening to from John Williams is going to play in the background. And for the viewer, it instantly tells you exactly what is happening. It so perfectly captures the scene. So
An Imperial probe droid.
Good, the Empire knows we're here.
We better start the evacuation.
it's a good bet the Empire knows we're here. Better start the evacuation. Into a classic long shot of a Star Destroyer from below. The menacing John Williams Imperial March is playing in the background. Just the scale is overwhelming. And then eventually zeroing in right in on Darth Vader. So music, it can add something so much in a big composition like John Williams. But there's also examples when just a small, seemingly innocuous, unimportant song can play an important role in music. I'm thinking of the end of Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I just love that movie. And at the very end of the movie, Ferris needs to get back to his house before his sister gets there, and they run into each other on the street. And there's almost no dialogue in the entire end of the movie, just this random song by the English Beat. But it perfectly helps the scene, but just by being so joyful, by being really whimsical, and it's just so silly, with the constant hook that it is. So it's totally different than a John Williams composition, but it still really adds to the scene. So what we'd like for you to do for this class is we'd like for you to watch as much as you can of two of these great movies, Ferris Bueller's Day Off and The Empire Strikes Back. And there's some discussion questions that are linked in the document that we're going to be getting a chance to unpack in our first class. But what I'd love for you to do is to watch some of the scene that I just showed right here around minute, where are we at? Around minute 20 of Empire Strikes Back. Watch that on mute. and see as they cut to the Empire with the ships, and then watch that again with the sound. Same thing for Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Try to watch that ending scene on mute without any sound at all. You're barely missing any dialogue. And then watch that again with the sound on. And hopefully that experience will just help you realize just how much the music is adding to your viewing experience. And then of course enjoy these films for so many other components that they have as well. Empire Strikes Back just does a tremendous job of building characters and establishing new lands. There's so much fantasy involved. The acting from Harrison Ford is phenomenal. Just the vision of George Lucas to be able to come up with all of these worlds and all these creatures and all these storylines is just unbelievable, way ahead of its time. So really great movies to enjoy. Check out our discussion questions, and hopefully you'll get a chance to appreciate the power of music.